morning, everybody. It is 7:13 and 7 degrees on Wednesday morning, November the 2nd. Jay Remer is here, the Etiquette Guy. Nice to have you.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
You tour everywhere.
I do. I'm a busy guy. Across Canada, up and down the U.S., and I even have people who contact me from around the world asking very basic questions, and funnily enough, they're quite similar, because I get a lot of business questions, and business is so international today.
I feel like etiquette is an area of life that is changing very quickly, because just the way we conduct ourselves is so much different than it's ever been in history now. It almost seems to me like being an individual is praised more than being someone who sort of falls in and follows a rule or something like that. So do you find that people are still as concerned with etiquette?
I think people are less concerned with etiquette, but I think the successful people are more concerned. And I think that people and etiquette is not complicated. Etiquette is really based in common sense. So if people conduct themselves in a civil way, without using bullying techniques and inappropriate behavior in the office or at home, it makes it so that people tend to live happier lives and they tend to be more successful. Mm-hmm. And I think it's really important for people, because, you know, in today's world, it's so competitive that in order to succeed, you know, you have your choice of who you're going to hire. You're going to hire somebody who you like and who you trust. And people who exhibit good etiquette are people who you can trust, because it's not all about me. And we've gotten into a very all about me kind of a world. And I think it's dangerous.
So I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Do you think people get their manners, if you will, from the way they're raised? Or do you think it's something that they adopt a little bit later on, and perhaps they weren't raised in a...
Well, in an ideal world, you're raised with good manners. No. It's really the responsibility of your parents to teach you how to behave. Mm-hmm. I know, even in my own profession, I can tell when someone has not been brought up properly and they've read how to do things right. But it's very different putting things into practice than it is reading about it.
So you think it's easy if it's inherent and it's part of your upbringing?
It has to be in your bones. It feels natural. Absolutely. It has to be something that you learned at a very early age, and there's no age that is too early to learn this.
Jay, where do you draw the line between, you know, having really great manners and great etiquette and just being sort of snobby?
You know, I think that any time that there's an intention to make someone feel lower than you in an effort to make yourself feel better about things, that I think is a place where there's lines. There are a lot of fine lines these days, and I've studied these sort of fine lines, and I think that it's really important that the golden rule of etiquette is never make someone else feel uncomfortable. It doesn't mean that you always put the other person's feelings first, but you usually do if you can. I mean, we all... It's one of the things.
Nice world that would be.
Well, it's amazing how much better you feel about yourself. And, you know, the whole point of good manners is to be happier yourself. It's not to go around and be Merry Sunshine all day long so that the rest of the world is happy. It's about being happy within yourself.
From the inside.
From the inside.
You know, you work with a lot of different business professionals. What are the biggest mistakes that people make in terms of interactions in business meetings and things like that? Because we're inundated with technology.
We are inundated with technology, and I think one of the biggest mistakes people make is they lose their professionalism. They think that because things are moving so fast that they have to move very fast, and they can drop things like spelling correctly or sending proper emails or text messages. Grammar has flown out the door. These codes and abbreviations have crept in. These emoticons have popped in, and it's all unprofessional. And I don't think it's a good direction that we're moving in. I think that we need to slow down and become more aware of what we're doing, because that is what I think is missing.
You know, I have this constant argument with my wife, in a polite way,
of course,
where she says, you know, Dave, you don't have to write a thank you email when someone thanks you for something you've done. Thank you for the thank you. She says that's superfluous. You don't need to do that. And I disagree. She goes,
Well,
but where does it end, Dave? It just keeps going. It's like after you, Alphonse, after a while.
Your wife is correct. You do.
Of course she is.
Oh, there you go, Dave.
Just can't get a break.
Okay.
You don't listen.
Dave.
If somebody was to send you a handwritten thank you note in the mail,
Yes.
and you received it, thank you very much, Uncle Joe, for giving me my toy fire engine for Christmas. You wouldn't send that person back a thank you note saying thank you for the thank you note. And the same thing with an email. It does become an endless circle, and it's where do these conversations end? I mean, otherwise we'd all be having the same conversation until we died,
Right.
and
Right.
and you have to end conversations, and so there are ways of writing and expressing yourself just as it is in conversation. So you learn how to do these things, and it's common sense, and it's so missing.
Well, okay, here's one. And it's all new. That's the thing. All of this new technology has just come into our lives, so we're trying to figure out how to use it. And so, turns out this tablet thing is very useful.
I know, you love that tablet now, don't you?
Well, I've never touched one in my life, and then for the first time yesterday, I thought, I'm really going to endeavor to start to get to know it and learn it. And so I took it to the hairdresser, because I was getting my naturally blonde hair more natural, and I had hours on my hands, so I sat there with my tablet doing work, blah, blah, blah. But there's someone standing right here doing my hair. We just exchanged hellos, pleasantries, then me, fixated. Rude? Not rude.
Oh, I think that it depends on the situation. I think in that particular case, you're well within your rights to, once you've done your pleasantries and everything, it's just like reading a magazine. In fact, that may have been what you were doing.
Partly, yeah.
And I think that that's fine. I think that if the person was having a conversation with you, it would absolutely not be fine. And so I think that each situation is different, and because the person that you are in conversation with, that you're communing with, is more important than anything outside, unless there's a danger. Right. So I think that is something that has crept in tremendously, is these iPhones and all this texting and everything. I mean, I've seen people walk into telephone poles.
Yes.
I mean, that's how dangerous
it
can be.
There's been fatalities.
Yes.
But it's very, very rude, because what it does is it makes the person with whom you're speaking feel like they don't count. They're all of a sudden they're playing second fiddle, which isn't right.
Exactly. Jay Remer, he's the etiquette guy, and Jay, you will be at Holly Matrimony?
I'll be teaching
right?
2 seminars for hollymatrimony.com at the Fairmont Royal York today and tomorrow.
Fantastic. For all the information on that, please take a look at our website, morningshow.ca. Thanks for clearing that up for us, Jay. A pleasure meeting you.
Wonderful meeting you, too.
Thank
you
you
so
much.
Lovely to meet you all.
It is now 7:21 on Wednesday morning. We'll be back in just a moment.
You know, if you have a dinner party or you even have a family get-together and my kids come